welcome back to the podcast. Hope everyone's having a beautiful day today. I'm having a absolutely beautiful day. I think I'm just in a good vibe right now, and I would say this is probably maybe every week that I do this, it makes it seem a lot better and better that I switched over to the new spot that I have where the podcast is doing, because it has a beautiful view of outside. Not to mention, I always feel like I need a window I always find myself looking out the window when it comes to talking about certain things, or even when I'm on the podcast. It just gives a whole vibe throughout the room. It's so nice out today, and it only means it's going to get nicer and nicer. So everybody enjoy the nice weather while it's somewhat in the middle, because I feel April to maybe mid-May is when it's still all right, when it's maybe the perfect balance. And when it starts getting to maybe even sprinkling into late May or June, it's just when June comes around, it starts getting kind of oh no, it's plus 90 or whatever. Or I won't even say it gets around that high. Maybe more towards July and August, the dog days of summer. But long story short, I would say enjoy the balanced weather while you still can, before the leaves start coming back and all that stuff. But yeah, some things we got to talk about today. We got to talk about LeBron James buying a stake in the Fenway Sports Group. So now Mans is part owner of the Boston Red Sox. We got to talk about March Madness a little bit. Get more into that. Getting more into the LeBron James stuff a little bit later on. I know he got an ankle injury and all that stuff. So prayers up to him. I will say this about March Madness. March Madness, I always love watching the games. I know everyone kind of uses it as a way to when it comes to the brackets and everything, try to get the perfect bracket. I don't believe anybody's ever gotten a perfect bracket, and if they did, kudos to you, dude. But I just in case I'm wrong, I'm not entirely sure, but I'm pretty confident that nobody's ever had a perfect bracket. I think somebody's gotten it to maybe the Elite 8. I think that's the closest somebody's ever gotten it to, something like that. Because I don't use March Madness as a way to I need to make my bracket and everything. I know that's kind of the gist when it comes to the fans. I like watching the games with no pressure on it, because I don't know. I like more fantasy leagues more than I like doing brackets, because I think I did one, and I did one and it was free, and I think I got all the first, maybe not all the first round, but all I know is mine was broken by the first round anyway. So I would much rather just enjoy watching the basketball being played. And I have to say, because some of the games I haven't picked up on, but I know Jason Preston from Ohio. I know that kid has had such a story behind him, and I know you gotta just you can't help but just cheer for the dude, because he balled out yesterday. I believe he had 11 or 13 points, and then he had a near triple-double. I know he had 8 assists. I know he had double digits in points and rebounds. I believe he was 2 assists away from a triple-double. But all I know is that kid was balling out and doing whatever he could. And they upset the defending champions of I believe Virginia, if I remember correctly. Yeah, it was Virginia. And yeah, there's already been a bunch of upsets already, and it kind of goes to show it's granted, I'm pretty sure people would love if there was fans in the stands at this point, and I would just say, just keep hanging on. But it seems like it's still March Madness, so it's not when it comes to no fans in the stands or anything like that, it still has the same feel, at least to the players anyway, But yeah, it gets real. Long story short, I like watching the games to watch the games, and not more, I got money on the line in this. I like to take that pressure off, because, again, I don't mind who wins. I know if I had to pick a team, I know I love Kansas. I love Kansas because Paul Pierce is out of that college. A bunch of great players out of Kansas. I'm not sure if they got eliminated yet, because this is probably the first year I haven't really paid too much attention to it, and even then I was really only watching certain games. But yeah, long story short, I just like watching the basketball and seeing the buzzer beaters and all that. That's a perfect time of year for really sports fans in general. You want high pace, high leverage games, you go to March Madness, because these kids are playing for a lot more than just trying to make it to the league. I know a bunch of them that's the dream, but sometimes you got to remember, sometimes some kids don't make it all the way, and college is their last stop. Granted, I'm not going to tell kids as soon as you hit college and you don't believe you got it, you're done. No, by all means, I want those kids to fight. And I want those kids to fight just like how I'm trying to fight. I want them to grind out just like how I'm grinding. I'm trying to contribute to helping people rise up together, you know. And yeah, I know before we start talking about LeBron and Boston, it still kind of boggles my mind, even though it was announced a few days ago. I would say, I know with the Lakers are down bad right now because they don't got AD, and in fact, he's probably going to be out for another 3 weeks anyway. And LeBron went down with an injury, so I believe now your best player is Kuzma, Kyle Kuzma, or I guess Kuzma might be your number one. I know Caruso had that whole kind of. I know Kuzma went down, not Kuzma. Caruso went down with when he hit his head off the floor, so I haven't really checked too much on him. I hope he's doing all right. But yeah, I know Lakers down bad right now. I know it's still, I don't know. Everybody's kind of getting hurt at the same time. LeBron's down, Embiid's down. On the bright side, speaking of somebody coming back from injury, though, you got Blake Griffin making his debut for the Nets tonight. And last time I checked, I believe my Celtics were beating Orlando. And yeah, Jaylen Brown and Jason Tatum were kind of doing the normal Celtics offenses when those guys score like 60% of the points, and then everybody else is kind of just bounces around to who has a hot hand and whatnot. I don't believe if the game is over yet or not, now that I'm recording this. But do I think if there are going to be any big trades? Maybe one. I believe Victor Oladipo might get traded. But since we're on the topic of the Celtics, I don't believe that the Celtics will make a trade. I'd like for them to do that, but I don't think they will. It's just sometimes it's just tough to see, man. It's just pain on the side of rooting for the Celtics again. So, but hey, man, what do you do? I know I'll probably wait maybe a future video to a future podcast to talk about what I feel the Celtics should try to do, or what I would like for them to do to try to flip the script a little bit. But do I feel that they would miss the playoffs? I don't believe so. And just like it's just a weird situation. It's a weird year. But, I mean, it kind of has no excuse now because it's kind of midway through the season. Yeah, it's a weird year, but everybody's had to adapt to it. Some teams and some players have kind of flourished with the fact that they don't have the added pressure of the fans, and some players have kind of maybe not diminished their value, but they just play odd. I don't know if that's the case for really somebody like Kemba. I mean, coming off that whole knee thing, and he said his knee was 100%, but really ever since the bubble, he's kind of not really played the same. But hey, that's just me ranting, a disgruntled Celtics fan. I hope they have it figured out and they don't just fiddle with their thumbs. Let's just leave it at that. So yeah, talking still on the topic of LeBron. Before I even talk about what this means for a team like the Red Sox, I would just want to say LeBron he's doing things that an active player has not been doing. MJ was kind of like that when he kind of wanted his own team. Well, it was the Wizards era I'm talking about here. He wanted to be a part. He wanted to own a team, and the whole thing with that was I believe he was the GM for the Wizards, and then that was eventually going to lead to him being part owner, and then that kind of fell through. I mean, he came back to play and all that stuff, and then that's when he ended up getting a bidding group together, and then that's when it led to him having, I believe, majority ownership of the Charlotte Hornets. And I mean, now they're going crazy, but that was long after he retired. And quite honestly, if you're asking me, I don't believe NJ really needed to prove anything to anybody for coming back during the Wizards years. I would say if there was a time for him he should have came out of retirement. I believe he shouldn't really have retired in the first place, and retired after the 98 season after he got that 6th chip. And I mean, we can debate what if Michael Jordan didn't retire the first time all we want. I believe he might have had 7 championships at least, or at least that one finals matchup with Akeem or something. That would have been fun. Granted, I wasn't alive for that, but it's just fun to think about, and it's fun to fantasize about when it comes to those things. But on the topic of LeBron, he's on the end. Well, he's not on the end road of his career, but he's not even slipping either. I feel LeBron's going to go on his own terms anyway. But talking about that, he's now part owner of the Boston Red Sox. As a still active and still very good player in the NBA. You got him. He's gonna be in the new Space Jam movie. I know he's kind of taking the Shaq route, and he's investing. You got the I Promise School going, and it's a bunch of things that he's still doing as an active player. I would say I bring up Shaq, but Shaq has really been doing that once he was on the back and tail end of his career, and he was retired. He was doing things like this, and I feel even when LeBron retires, he's still gonna be in the limelight, or in the spotlight, I guess. But he's still gonna be in the spotlight. I don't think he will do. I feel he's too much of a public figure to be able to fizzle out. You know, even the thing with MJ, but the thing with MJ wasn't really as outspoken, or I guess open as LeBron was, or LeBron is, I should say. And I think it's a really good thing. It's definitely a really good thing for Major League Baseball, though. I'll say that, because they need that kind of surge to kind of get the game into a better place. Because I know now baseball really isn't going anywhere. It's just, yeah, but do you want to stay stagnant, or why not just try to help the game grow? And I can definitely go on a rant about this, but that's an episode for a different time. But the fact that I don't like seeing the game of baseball stagnant, and I like how LeBron, I mean, and granted, LeBron has already kind of been connected to the sports group that owns the Red Sox, because he bought a stake in the I believe the Liverpool. Yeah, I was right. It was Liverpool. He has a piece of ownership of Liverpool, the Liverpool Football Club. But let me switch over to the Red Sox side, because I've already talked about how, I mean, it really helps LeBron, because he eventually, the end goal for him, he wants to own an NBA team, and I believe it's more, he would love to own the Cavs one day, but I'm not sure. I feel that might be it. I would like to see that happen, but I feel it might be something weird. I wouldn't even say weird, because MJ, you understand the Hornets because he went to college in North Carolina, and I feel LeBron getting ownership of the Cavs, that would do a lot for them. But let me talk about what this means for the Red Sox, and really for the game of baseball. The game of baseball, they have one of their better players of all time in Ken Griffey Jr. in a position of power in the commissioner's office. So that means his job pretty much is to find ways to help the game of baseball grow. And I feel getting more faces that are recognizable with the product. So Ken Griffey Jr., he's synonymous with the game of baseball. He's one of the greatest baseball players of all time. Somebody like LeBron James being one of the better, he's top 2 of all time in the NBA. And the fact that I don't know how invested in the team operations he's going to be a part of, but I know LeBron, he watches a lot of sports, baseball included. So I feel he may, the good thing for the Red Sox is that may attract more stars to Boston, or at least entice players to want to come there, because he's going to be in those not those team meetings, but those free agent meetings. I hope, and I wouldn't be surprised if he was, because I feel as the owner, I think you would want to do something like that. You want to be part of those pitch meetings for free agents. I feel that would just have a I want the Red Sox to establish a culture, and the whole game of baseball can really try to establish a better culture to get more eyes on the product. And there's plenty of things they can do, not even right now, but even come the next season, they can do to push it in the right direction. At least show me that you're trying to push it in the right direction. I feel something like this kind of gives me a glimmer of hope, because you see how Magic Johnson and the Dodgers are doing. They won a championship. They got Mookie Betts. They end up signing top free agent, a guy like Trevor Bauer. But long story short, the Dodgers are making money moves, and the Dodgers are up there with the Yankees, and they've kind of been up there with the Yankees when it comes to popularity. And I believe a team like the Red Sox is right up there too. And it's not even me being a biased fan or anything like that, because that's kind of how it is. I mean, granted, everybody, when it comes to certain people, when it comes to the majority, people will pick New York, but some people love just picking. I believe it will just kind of. I just want the game of baseball to elevate, but I feel Boston is kind of getting up there now because now they're affiliated with LeBron James. Granted, it makes sense because LeBron James has been synonymous with the city of Boston, breaking hearts of many a fans and dunking on many a Jason Terry. But I would say me personally, I think it's a really cool move by LeBron, and I did not see that coming when I was swiping through Instagram the day that got announced. So I thought that was really cool that LeBron would. Well, now is that was probably one of the last things I would expect. LeBron James is part over the Boston Red Sox, and hearing him talk about it and just hearing what he says, it makes me feel he's going to be very invested in where the team goes, and not to mention him and Maverick Carter are technically part owners, because I know that kind of whole entourage. That whole entourage, or mainly maybe LeBron and Maverick Carter. But I would just say it's just cool. It's great for the game of baseball, I would say, and hopefully that brings a couple of key free agents to Boston, or it just increases the popularity of the game of baseball and the Boston Red Sox in general. Now, just switching gears a little bit, I know for the frequent rotation, I usually now have been posting it the times when the podcast goes live on the IG, and that really is no different today, because today it's Fake Pods by 99 Neighbors. And those of you who don't know who 99 Neighbors are, it's pretty much a collection or a group of rappers and hip hop artists, or just I would just say artists in general. And these guys, this whole group is just, when I found their music, it was kind of more feel good. When I first listened to them, it was like, all right, this is pretty good. But Fake Pods, it's the same name. It was named after the name of the album, which is Fake Pods. So I would say go check out 99 Neighbors. Shout out to those guys. There ain't no partnership or nothing. Every time I shout out an artist, or anytime I do the frequent rotations, it hasn't really been it hasn't been any partnerships or anything like that. But I'm just shouting out artists that I've been listening to, and I think I've been listening to a lot, or just a certain song by someone. And I would say Fake Pods by 99 Neighbors. It's a feel-good song. I like it because it's kind of one of those coming-to-life songs, at least from what I took away from it, because it has that nice vibe. And it makes me... I feel it fits the setting of where I'm at, whether it's physically or where I see myself going mentally in the future. Like, just picturing in my mind where I'm going to be at, and it's kind of that coming to life, and hey, we made it kind of deal. I feel those kinds of songs with that kind of meaning behind it, it helps. It really connects with me. So it was one of those feel good songs. So I would say shout out to 99 Neighbors, because they made it to the frequent rotation list with their song Fake Pods. Say I'll wrap it up there. Hope you guys enjoyed. Everyone stay safe out there. Enjoy the beautiful weather. Mask up. Protect yourselves. We love you guys. Everybody protect each other. Treat each other with respect. And we'll catch y'all next week. Love y'all.